నమస్కారం వనితా భక్తి ఛానల్కి స్వాగతం. ఇప్పుడు మనతో పాటు సుచిత్ర కృష్ణమూర్తి గారు ఉన్నారు. సో అయితే భగవద్గీతకి సంబంధించి ఆ భగవద్గీతని కొటేషన్స్ రూపంలో 108 కొటేషన్స్ రూపంలో మనకి ఒక బుక్ను అందిస్తున్నారనమాట. సో ఆ బుక్ లాంచ్ ప్రోగ్రాంలో ఇప్పుడు మనం ఉన్నాం. సుచిత్ర గారిని అడిగి భగవద్గీత ఎంచుకున్నారు, దాని ద్వారా మనకి జీవితంలో ఎటువంటి మెసేజ్ ఇవ్వబోతున్నారో ఈ విషయాలన్నీ అడిగి తెలుసుకుందాం. Hello Suchitra garu, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for coming.
And we are glad to see that a woman has written a Bhagavad Gita in quotations form. So what is the major idea or thought behind writing this?
So I was drawn to the Bhagavad Gita during a certain turbulent period of my life, and I found that it gave me a lot of comfort, and that is the comfort and courage I wanted to share. And in fact, a lot of people mocked me and said, your last book was Drama Queen, now you're writing on Bhagavad Gita, with what authority? So I just felt that we all have the right to the Gita. We all have the right to her wisdom. And I wanted to present it in my ways, in a very simple and distilled manner. You know, accessible, remove all that intimidation and intellectualization. So that's what I attempted, and I'm happy that people have responded so positively.
What are the challenges you have gone through? As you said, most of the people have mocked you. I think, was the gender the reason for starting this Bhagavad Gita, which you faced the mockings and all?
Gender, I mean, generally, especially in the past, yes, the authorities have mainly been, the gatekeeping has been by the men. But of late, it's changed. You know, there are many female writers, there are many discourses on the Gita held by women. And it was more to do with my previous body of work, the fact that I'm a singer, actor, you know, and my earlier book, like I said, was called Drama Queen. So they expect that when if you write about the Bhagavad Gita, you have to be some kind of a saint or a a very religious, holy person. But I feel this is a motivational book. It's a leadership book. It is a self-help book. It's not just a religious book. It is a book that can help us achieve our highest potential.
If a woman starts a work, she looks that work with emotion, deep with a deep soul connection, and also she looks that any of the work with the compassion. So in what way you have seen Bhagavad Gita, and in what way you have put in the quotes?
Like I said, it gave me so much comfort that is the main thing I wanted to share. And if you ask me how I wrote the book, it's all a blur. You know, the timeline, everything is a blur. I feel it just wrote itself. Yeah. So yeah, that's also that's what I wanted to share, which is why I just decided that whatever happens, I'll just do it and I'll see. And you know, last week we hit the top 1,000 books on Amazon worldwide. So I'm like, this feels unreal, you know. Yeah.
I think it itself promoted.
Yes, it's its own power,
Right.
you know, and I'm lucky that I tapped into that power. You know what I'm saying? That's what I feel.
Got it. I have heard your story and I have seen your videos that you have lost something in your life. You have lost precious people in your life. So, how did Bhagavad Gita help you in overcoming that?
I think that you understand the transient nature of life. That you know, there's one quote which is my favorite. You can't say favorite, but which answers your question, which is chapter 2, verse 22, that says that we are all just like we change our clothes. No, the soul changes its bodies. So if you understand how transient life is and look at our karma and everything over lifetimes, and you know, conscious at different level of consciousness, you start understanding life very differently. You stop looking at it so narrowly.
So, but as most of the history and all the things we say that we are living in a Kali Yugam, and as we have lot of emotions and lot of greedy things, and we have negative thought perspectives. So, is that really possible to understand the if this is just a soul thing and all?
One of the biggest things I learned when I revisited the Bhagavad Gita is that there is no right or wrong if you want something, or if you are pursuing your duty, or if you desire something. There is no right or wrong. That moral field is entirely definable by you, and it is dependent on so many other factors. If you kill in protection of your child, it is not seen as a crime. So these things are, you have to understand it in the larger perspective. God is far more forgiving.
And coming to the woman, and most of the people talk about women, and woman is a subject to them, but she is objectified. So, what do you say about that? And in which way these Bhagavad Gita quotes of yours will change their perspective?
I don't know, but it irritates me when people say things like, you still look so hot, you still look so good. I'm like, you think it flatters me? See, it's this assumption also that it flatters women. So I think it's time for the world to understand that we are not flattered by it, we are disgusted by it. It's like, hello, is there nothing else you can see? You know? So I think I tend to get a little annoyed, but I understand that's the nature of the world. That is human nature.
Also, coming to your book, so in which way it helps other women to understand themselves and to stand confidently about their life and able pursue their career with full of courage?
See, though all our sacred text is originally written by men, I think we have to look at it as no longer gender specific. Everything that is in this book applies equally to you. So if you think this is your duty, if this is your passion, this is your purpose, regardless of gender, you should pursue it. And those restrictions is something we place on our own mind. Freedom is something you give away. Nobody can snatch it from you if you don't give it away.
What do you think that a man or a woman needs in this life to survive?
So many different skills, depends on what you're doing. But to me, I want to live with integrity, with creativity, and positivity. I've been through too many dark tunnels. I'm just hurtling towards the light now.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. So I get it through your confidence that you are presenting here right now. So I understand. I mean, how is that possible to overcome something? And most of the people, who, as we believe our Bhagavad Gita and our culture, right? So if we believe that, most nowadays people are just commenting or backlashing us that we are just a religious kind of people. So what do you say about that? And what do you want to tell to that kind of people?
I think it's very important to learn self validation, depend on yourself. As long as you're dependent on external validation, you will always be pulled down. And also, in the company we keep, we must surround ourselves with people who prop us up.
Yeah,
That's
and
very important, especially for women, because if we don't value ourselves, we will never be treated the way we deserve to be treated.
what do you say about other people who, who underestimate our culture or whatever our Bhagavad Gita or Itihasas? So they just provoke us, and if we believe that, they tend to say that they are completely religious based and they don't have equality among other religions. They so and so blah blah blah. So what do you say about that kind of perspectives or mind?
I think people are entitled to ignorance as much as one is looking for knowledge and wisdom. So I have nothing to say to the naysayers.
So just avoiding them is the best thing you say, right?
Yeah, because if you jump in mud, it's going to splash on your face, no? Yeah.
Coming to this book, how it will, connect to Gen Z kids?
Oh, one of my main feedback that as I was writing this book is my daughter's age group and her friends group. So I felt if I can convey and make them understand, then my purpose is solved.
Superb. And what is your best, as you have already said your favorite quote, but what is your best quote that you can suggest other people also to listen that and that changes their perspective of their life?
Not at I. There's no one best quote because it all depends on what you're seeking. You know, different people may be seeking different things. Bhagavad Gita has 700 verses. I've only chosen 108. These are what I was seeking. This is what resonated with me. So I cannot claim that this is what others need. But I would say give it a try. It helped me. It may help you.
Superb, superb, and all the best. Hope you will be busy just printing more and more books from now. And I just wanted to give a woman a small, powerful lines from you.
What? Just be yourself. Yeah, that's it. You have all the power. Just don't hide it. You know, that's it. Yeah.
And
And
also,
don't be afraid of your own power. I think women are very afraid sometimes of their own power. And we shrink, you know, to adapt, to make others feel taller. We shrink. So, I mean, of course, everything comes in time, you know. Yeah.
thank you so much for your time. సో ఇప్పుడు కళాకృతి ఆర్ట్ గ్యాలరీ ఫౌండర్ అండ్ డైరెక్టర్ రేఖామా మన ముందున్నారు. సో మేడంని కూడా ఒకసారి సుచిత్ర కృష్ణమూర్తి గారి భగవద్గీత శ్లోకాలకు సంబంధించిన విషయాలన్నీ కూడా అడిగి తెలుసుకుందాం. అలాగే ఈ ఆర్ట్ గ్యాలరీ విషయాలకు సంబంధించిన విషయాలన్నీ కూడా తెలుసుకుందాం. హలో మ్యామ్, ఎలా ఉన్నారు?
Hi, hi. It's very nice to have Suchitra here. I've been knowing her for last 2 decades. You know, her child.
long time.
Yeah, it's a long time. Her child was playing with my child, so you know when they were kids, and so it's absolutely a pleasure. When she asked me that can she do it here, I was very thrilled. Because she is so versatile, a fabulous actress, and versatility to another level. You know, whether it's writing books or painting or acting now in OTT medium also. Her latest one is Margaon Files, which she was awarded, is excellent. She is a class apart in everything she does.
Great, great. So when she said about these Bhagavad Gita slokas that she is writing a book, that too in 108 quotes. So what was your first reaction, and what have you seen the book?
So I have seen the book, though I haven't really gone through it much. But Bhagavad Gita is obviously, you know, she's very spiritual, and certain things have happened in her family, which has also made her spiritual. You know, that always everybody goes through a path which kind of takes them towards spirituality. And you know, the loss of her father, the loss of her brother recently. So I know her family quite well. And when she told me that I have written this book, I could very well understand that, you know, where is she coming from. So I was very happy to have the talk here. And Bhagavad Gita at any point of time is a source of inspiration. For everyone, whether it's a kid, you kind of teach the kid in a different sense. You kind of teach a youth in a different sense. Even mid-level, you have different sense to pick. And older generation, of course, you know, people expect that older generation should always read Bhagavad Gita. It's not about just them, it's about everybody.
When everybody understands this Bhagavad Gita, they understand the life and their journey to survive, right?
Yeah. Yes, of course, because Bhagavad Gita teaches you, during the course of Bhagavad Gita, when Lord Shri Krishna is talking to Arjun, saying Parth, and then because he's keeping on asking him questions that how can I disturb, or how can I attack my own cousins, brothers. Then he says that what is to be done has to be done, and what is dharma, and it has to be done in that particular way. So I think those teachings will stay with us all throughout.
Yeah, but exactly, but to give you a thought-provoking question, so does people in this generation believe that kind of preachings, and do they believe that there is a positivity and we need to perform based on our dharma or karma?
I believe that, see, whether, as I told you, all generations should be looking towards Bhagavad Gita and the lessons, because what you pick up from that is up to you. A youth will pick up something different, a student will pick up something different, but the teachings of Bhagavad Gita is very important. The interpretation may be different.
Exactly what you said is true. And finally, so when you have to say about Suchitra Garu, so she has gone through many things in her life, and also though she is versatile, yet she has to tell about herself more and more again in this social media era. So as simply to say that she didn't get proper recognition, she is underrated women which who is versatile. So what do you want to say about her and her career and all?
See, today I would say she's lucky that she has an OTT medium. You know, if her movies are not coming at that rapid space to her, then she has an OTT medium to look up to, and which is doing well for her. So she is a very contented person as such, and she's hardworking. So anyone who's hardworking will never feel the stress.
So yeah, thank you so much, Rekha ma'am. Yeah, so చూసారు కదా, like చాలా cool గా, pleasant గా. And finally, I just wanted to know that, so how do you handle or manage all this Kalakriti art gallery with very so much of peace and with energy?
So, see, I have always been an art student, and when I got married here about 34 years back, and we opened the gallery in 2002. So, next year we'll be celebrating our 25 years. So, we always wanted the Hyderabadis to get the best. So, if you see here, Anne Carrington artworks have come from Kent, UK. Here, the box which is made. So, and that's why I had also asked her to send me a video of the process of the, so that people know how the work is done. And we have national shows, international shows. So I think the color artist, working with them, speaking to them, gives me all the motivation.
Super. Thank you so much for your time. ఇప్పుడు మన ముందు బుక్ ప్లస్ రీడింగ్ క్లబ్ కి సంబంధించినటువంటి మహిళలు ఉన్నారు. సో వీళ్ళు ఈ భగవద్గీత బుక్ ని ఎలా అర్థం చేసుకున్నారో, దాని గురించి ఏం చెప్పాలనుకుంటున్నారో అడిగి తెలుసుకుందాం. హలో, మే ఐ నో యువర్ గుడ్ నేమ్ టు అవర్ ఆడియన్స్?
Hello, I'm Vibha Jain, and like every other Indian, any other Indian, Gita is like a daily guide and a philosophical book.
So when you heard about this 108 quotes of Bhagavad Gita by Suchitra Krishnamurti, so what was your first thought?
The first thought is from of initial book, I think it was called The Dancing Queen, the Drama Queen, sorry, the Drama Queen. How from Drama Queen she shifted to something like Bhagavad Gita, but then I can understand she has made it so reader friendly, and it is like you pick up. You don't have to actually start from chapter 1. You can start from anywhere, and it's going to tell you a story about what you are going through, about dharma, about karma, about our sangharsh. So all those factors in life which we go through on a daily basis is covered with a layperson language. So even if a child is sitting next to you, you can simply explain it in the most easy word, the Gen Z. You can explain them in the most easy words, because you don't have to use Sanskritized versions. Of course, Sanskrit was used. We cannot forget the shlokas. The shlokas are an important integral part of our Indian culture. But the understanding, now you ask someone today, can you tell me the meaning of shloka? No ma'am, we were not taught the meaning. But here she has given the meaning so that even a youngster can know the Sangharsh or the meaning of every shloka. So this is what makes Suchitra's book a little more different from the regular ones.
Superb. Thank you for reducing my stress, for not letting me to ask another question regarding the Gen Z and millennium. సో ఇది మన సుచిత్ర గారు భగవద్గీత నుంచి ఎంత పవర్ నేర్చుకున్నారు అండ్ ఎంత కాన్ఫిడెంట్ గా తన ఆన్సర్స్ ని చెప్తున్నారు అండ్ వాట్ ఎవర్ వి లెర్న్ ఫ్రమ్ మన వర్క్ నుంచి నేర్చుకున్న ప్రతి దాని నుంచి మనకు ఒక కాన్ఫిడెన్స్ వస్తుంది. దానితో మనం ఏం చేయాలనుకుంటున్నాం అని ఒక క్లారిటీ కూడా వస్తుంది. అదే క్లారిటీ అందరికీ ఉంటే, పర్టికులర్లీ విమెన్ కి ఉంటే మనం అసలు ఎవరికి భయపడాల్సిన అవసరం లేదు అనేది మనకి ఇంటర్వ్యూ ద్వారా తెలుసుకుందాం. సో మరొక ఎపిసోడ్ తో మళ్ళీ కలుద్దాం. అంతవరకు సెలవు.